Our enemy has no power. The power is with the people. Guys, I've had a revelation. So, as you can see, I am absolutely obsessed with understanding the losing team at the moment. And I've come to the realization I won't be able to move on until I understand what I need to understand. Like, I won't be able to move on to literally anything else in life in general until I understand this, because I walked into a winning season blindly before when I was 18, and I now have learned all the lessons I've learned. It will be officially 10 years since I was 18 this year anyway. And so this time we're walking in with our eyes wide open. And so I got to understand the enemy that I'm going to be up against, or our opponent. And I just made this, I don't know, there's so much stuff that's happened last year. There's so much stuff that's happening this year. And there's a chain of events that led me to the conclusion that the enemy actually doesn't have any power. I've said before that he utilizes us for power. And I'm going to talk about this in levels. Like, I'm going to talk about it in a physical sense, like on the earthly, in our day-to-day decisions, our day-to-day lives, how this affects all of us, every single one of us, every single human being. I'm also going to talk about it from a spiritual standpoint, because it's all the same. And I'm really starting to understand this. And I really wanted to share this with you guys, because of course, this is what we do here. This is the winning team. So let me tell you how it goes, right? It all started when I went to watch Wicked. So when I went to see Wicked, I knew that the enemy was going to reveal something about himself through the movies, as he always does. That's why I say, since I was a kid, I never thought, oh, this is make-believe. I never thought that. I always thought, I feel like this is real. So when I was watching it, I was like, I knew as soon as I heard a year before that Wicked was coming out. I'm not the one to rush to watch these Hollywood movies, because I don't. I knew I was going to see Wicked, right? From a year before it was out. So I wanted to see Wicked, right? And obviously, ironically, I went with my mum. I asked my mum if she wanted to go, so I got us tickets to go, because she's a woman. So she'll have the wisdom, you know what I mean? The wisdom to understand the wickedness and what have you. So we met up, we went together, whatever. And she did drop gems. I was like, wow, age really helps a lot of things when it comes to wisdom. But anyway, because she dropped some gems, and I was like, whoa, I did not think about it like that. So I knew she was the perfect person to go with, because she's a woman and she's intelligent. And she's a woman of faith as well. So, anyways, although I would have to say she thinks that a lot of things I think are way too extreme, as does everybody. So, whatever. So I went to watch Wicked, right? And there was a thing that stuck out to me, right? And yes, I'm going to spoil it, but apparently everybody else seems to have watched all this stuff growing up. I didn't. So this was my first time ever dealing with anything surrounding The Wizard of Oz, Wicked, whatever. First time. So I'm watching this, and after Elphaba and Glinda make it all the way to the Emerald City, yada, 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 they meet the wizard. It's this big thing. Everybody hears about the wizard. It's this big honor to be invited to meet the wizard, the Wizard of Oz. It's this big honor. It's this big, huge thing, right? So, and everybody, you can't have access to him. And he's the one who did this, and he's the one who did that, and he's famous and all this. But then it turned out, once we got there, to fast forward, in the end, Elphaba realizes this guy hasn't got any power, because a lot of the stuff that he's doing, it's either the magical creatures around, like, for example, the most basic thing being that ancient secret book that's in the secret language that will reveal itself to you. I wish I could remember what it was called. That will reveal itself to you if it senses you're the right person or whatever. He couldn't even read it. And so she realizes, this is part of the whole big defying gravity moment. Elphaba's like, wait a minute, you can't even read this thing. I can read this thing. Can you do any magic trick? Because it was funny, because when he first came in, and he did some funny joke about pulling a coin behind his behind their ear, and me and my mum were giggling about it, because my mum was like, oh, that's such a dad joke. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then we were laughing about it after the fact, realizing, oh, that's the only magic bro can do. It was just insane. And it's just insane how this happens, and how this, so the way that it was all set up, it made me think, so Elphaba's the one who's actually has the power, who's isolated, unheard, not like accepted in society. Galinda's doing everything just to have the power, but again, doesn't have powers as of yet, is trying to either learn from Elphaba, learn from the Supreme Duchess of whatever is lady, magician lady. And the only person in the room there who actually had power was Elphaba. Galinda, I believe, will eventually learn it through practicing. This is all going to make sense in a minute. And the wizard doesn't have any power. So the wizard's idea was that he was going to have Elphaba come with him, live in his Emerald City, so that he could essentially use her power for his agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, can I present to you the devil and Hollyweird? And it all hit me when somebody, because now that other people have started to talk about, this is clearly these fires in California, this is clearly a satanic ritual. Yeah, exactly. You know why? Because the devil doesn't have any power, and the power is always with the people. Why was Beyonce being paid $30 million to endorse whichever president she thought needed to be the next president? Why historically were emperors, right, making deals with the popes to say, please honor me before your people, and I will protect you, and essentially battle on your behalf for whatever agendas? Why must do we vote for things? Why does it cost for you money, time, resource to do everything? You know why? The power is with the people. Why are children sacrificed? Why are people sacrificed in general? Why is there always killing going on with the kingdom of darkness and destruction? Because the power is with the people. The devil has no power without us. If we all turned away today from I want to say our wicked ways, but yeah, I should just let the thoughts flow as they come, right? If we all turn today from our wicked ways, the devil would be done. He would have nothing to do. If everybody in the world, right, accepted Jesus Christ, declared Jesus as their Lord, Jesus is Lord, confessed with their mouth that Jesus is Lord, and believed in their heart that he was raised from the dead, every single human in the world did that, the devil would just be kicking and screaming, having a tantrum in the corner, because there'd be nothing he can do. That's why he has to deceive us, just like the wizard. He has to deceive everyone into thinking he's this powerful thing, when really, and it happens a lot. It reminds me of what kings are like today versus what kings were like before. Kings before, right, they used to be the ones to put themselves out in the front of the battle. You would see them fighting in the battle. They will be out there with their own soldiers. You know what I mean? They will be putting themselves on the line. They will be the best warriors. They'll be the best swordsmen, whatever, right? Look at the kings of today. The kings of today need to have armies to protect them. They can't even fight for themselves anymore. I always have this image. Always fascinated me, this imagery where you have these kings who sit there. They're called a king, right? Because my understanding of king, the Bible says Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So that's where I'm looking towards when I'm thinking of these types of words, right? It always fascinated me, this imagery of kings, where you'd have a king and they just sit there in their throne, literally, with their chalice, almost balancing on their stomach, and it would still be up here. They don't really do anything. They just boss people around. They have an army of knights that they send out to do anything, and all they do is have all these women and all this food and just self-indulge, essentially. What happened to the days where kings used to be the ones who gained the favor of the people, right? But obviously, this is what the enemy does. He gets us to give our power away, right? By utilizing our free will. We give away our free will with our free will, basically. I was thinking about this in the video that I recorded yesterday when I was saying about the education system and how it's insane to me that as an adult person, if you're a parent, right, it doesn't make sense that if your tax money is supposed to go to cover certain things, one of which is the education of your very children, I don't understand how there isn't an option for you to get said money utilized where you want that money to be utilized for the education of your child. Who is the government to decide? But we've allowed that to happen. So now all those laws are in place. Now you can be prosecuted for your child not showing up at school because we gave away our frigging power. We gave away our frigging power. And then we wonder why we end up where we are now. We wonder why. We gave away our power, right? And so the enemy, the only power he has is the power he's taken or he's been given at the end of the day. And it just bewildered me that the devil actually has no power. Because of course he's doing crazy things now. You're going to see, and we're going to see plenty of things this year, I'm sure. Because last year, the Lord was like, oh, let's start opening the floodgates of the judgment. Because you got cocky, you thought you were just going to get away with it. This is how these people are. They get so caught up in pride that they actually think they're going to get away with it. And you know why? It's funny because this is why I'm sure that the devil mocks us to God. I'm sure he's like laughing in tears. Can I tell you that this is one of the few things that actually makes me feel like, you know what, maybe I should play the best damn game I ever played in my life. Because I can just envision it. It's almost like I can hear it. The devil like just laughing, like messing with us, causing death, destruction, and all of that, right? Dysfunction, degeneracy, and everything. And then while we blindly walk into his plan and our little puppets and call people like me conspiracy theorists and think that I sound insane, right? And you go and run off to people who are prepared to just kill you when it suits them because they need a little bit of extra power because they have to siphon it off of the power of God that he breathed into our bodies and gave us the breath of life. Yeah. And then he's there cackling like a witch, cackling at us, at how stupid we are. Cackling at how easy it is to get us to give up our treasures. Do you not think that the devil was laughing when Jacob took Esau's birthright because of a bowl of food? Do you not think the devil was cackling when Solomon, after everything that God had done, after having prayed for wisdom, becoming the wealthiest and the wisest, the wealthiest and wisest in all the land, right? 700 wives, 300 concubines. Do you think the devil was laughing when he then became enslaved to all the demonic gods that all those different women came with, which then caused destruction in the life of Solomon? Do you think the devil was cackling when Samson was there, right? Powerful man of God, tearing apart lions with his bare hands, and then he ends up killing himself and 4,000 other people by breaking pillars because they gouged out his eyes, all because of the sake of a woman and the things that he could see, the game that was being played right in front of his freaking eyes. Do you not think the devil was cackling? Do you not think the devil finds it funny that Jezebel made it all the way to the book of 2 Kings and Ahab couldn't handle anything? Elijah is asking the Lord to take his life. Is praying and fasting for 21 days. The angel's taking longer because there's principalities that have to be dealt with, not even just your baby little demon. Some principalities having to be dealt with. Do I think the devil was cackling? Do I think the devil was cackling when the Pharisees killed Jesus? But that's the thing, is that God always has the last laugh. So praise Jesus. Love always wins and God always wins, right? That's why this is the winning team. This is why even if it looks like they're winning, I have faith. The Bible says, trust in the Lord your God with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your path. So I don't need to see. I know. I trust in the Lord, right? But this is what the devil does. He's laughing at us. He is laughing every single time we as humans give up our power in any way, shape and form. This is why I can't just utilize my power easily in this world. I can't pay for certain things. This is why I would rather go into the supermarket, right, and buy frozen food from the sidemen, right, because I know who they are and I respect them as people. If I'm going to be using my power to put money into anyone's pocket or my time, it better be somebody that I'm prepared to have a platform and to potentially have influence. That's how serious it is. It's these small decisions that we make. This is something, the powers of the people. If everybody stopped buying Nike overnight, Nike is done. Nike isn't just rich because Nike is rich, right? Or Nike, wherever you come from. They are where they are because the people. Because we go and spend, and I'm not trying to villainize Nike, by the way, just to be clear. I'm using it as an example. Amazon. Why is Amazon so powerful? And I was like, give it up to Amazon, because Amazon's now doing Amazon business. They're talking about Amazon business. Get all of your, if they're wholesaling things for businesses on Amazon, that was a genius move. Haven't looked into it. I'm sure it's good. And I'm sure some of the competitors are going to lose out because people are already on Amazon and everybody's got their own small businesses these days, which is a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Because we need both. We need people with their small businesses and we need people that work in people's businesses, because that's called being a team, right? But he's got Amazon business now, Jeff Bezos, right? And so if the people will flock there again, you can complain about these billionaires all you want. You can complain about these governments all you want. You're voting them into power. You're letting them get away with things. A few years back now, we'll remember the event that we were going, I keep saying we're going through, but the pandemonium as it's called. You'll remember that, yep. 70% of the world utilized their power just by saying yes. I would love to have known what would have happened if 70% of the world had said no. And again, the devil doesn't have any power, so that's why he just has to do experiments, because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know the future. He doesn't know what we're going to do. It's up to us. He's waiting on us. He's hoping for us. He's trying to create a situation for us that is the most tempting away from whatever the will of God is in our lives, because then he can utilize that for his own thing. This is why these celebrities and people sell their souls to the devil. I think they sound stupid. When you see these rappers on stage and they're like, I sold my soul to the devil, and I'm just like, the devil is laughing at you. As soon as you are no longer of use, he's going to dispose of you. This isn't like some kind of, and I'm like the devil's inner whatever. They think they are. That's what's crazy about these governmental people and all this, because they're drunk off of the money. They're drunk off of power. Because that's what happens. People get drunk off of the power and then they start to think in the short term. Then they start to get ideas of delusion, like the devil did. He taught them. The kingdoms. They teach their people their own playbooks, right? The devil becomes a slave to. Why do these people? Because even for the devil, it's like the humans. What's there to ever be jealous about? Anyways, we're going to be here for like not that long in regards to all of eternity, right? All you had to do was just be obedient to God. You've met God. You're with God. You're an angel. God's gonna give you things to do. You're going to have an opportunity to be influenced and to have your name remembered. Like, think about like the angels like Angel Gabriel or Raphael, all these angels that are going to be are now known in history for good things. You know what I'm saying? And are going to be there laughing with us in heaven when all is said and done. And look at you, because you got caught up in pride. Right? And now, again, because you are not too powerful, you now have to come and get it from us. That's the greatest thing about, and this is why he's copying everything. Oh, AI. I was looking at this thing. It was like AI women now. They're making AI women and men. And they're saying, of course, they always have a reason, right? Why it's good for the community. It was like the genetic engineering. Oh, we're doing it so we can heal diseases, right? That's the reason. Okay. Oh, we're now making life-size, lifelike, real AI robots that you can bring images that to make them look exactly like a particular person if you want. And we want to do this mainly because we think it'll be good for businesses, so that they can have somebody that knows their business really well, and it's actually working really well. Also, we need to kill loneliness in the world. Right. That sounds so interesting, doesn't it, everyone? It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the enemy. Oh, let's stop mixing DNAs. Let's stop mixing. I'm not going to go there because this video is going to get taken down. Oh, I need to calm down, because if I actually get taken down again, they're going to strike me, and I can't afford to have a strike right now. So, hold on. It's the exact same with the school. The more I keep recalling school for myself, the more I'm realizing, like, you start school. This is how you count. This is how we read. This is the English language. I before E, accept off all these rules, right? The English language is a very demonic language. I'll be very honest. It's very easy. It's a great tool for manipulation because of the nature of the language itself. It's a great tool for manipulation. And that's why the contracts, which again, sin is like a contract, but we'll come. Actually, you can go watch that in my contracts playlist. But yeah, like you color inside the lines. You need to write with your right hand because we all need to write with our right hand. No. Coloring outside the lines is wrong. We color inside the lines. Yeah, that's right. That's right, you good little obedient factory worker. That's right, you good little obedient slave. Yeah, you color inside the lines. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. And then, these stories are myths and fables. These are myths and legends. This is make-believe. These are fictional, and this is non-fictional. And when we want to kind of admit that that stuff's actually kind of true without admitting it, we're going to call it science fiction. History? We're going to teach you history. Although history is so overwhelmingly vast, let's be honest, guys. Humans have existed for a long time. So whatever version of history we're taught in school, there's obviously got to be some agenda as to why we're taught this. This event that happened, this was good. This event that happened, this was bad. These are the heroes and these are the villains. You see, it's all a narrative building. And also, by the way, you're probably an idiot. So just choose the stable option of just going wherever we tell you to go. And following a curriculum by who God knows who, you don't know who they are. You don't know what their motives are. This is why when it sounds crazy when I say stuff like I'd rather go and spend my money on like buying Sidemen's merch, right? At least I know who they are. At least I can pinpoint them. At least, even if I wanted to, I could write reviews. I could sit here and make a video. But y'all out here giving all your power. In fact, giving your precious children into a system. You don't even know these people. You don't know who's in those schools. I've been saying this as well. Again, the best place, if anybody that's got wrongful desires around children, the best place for them to be is in the school. That's the best place, because if you become a teacher, you go through all the checks that people think, again, with your giving the power away. Oh, you know what? I've been convinced that as long as this person has these credentials, they're safe. I have a flip side version of that. I think these people are the best prepared to get away with heinous things because they know the law, they know the loopholes. And you're just doing it. And then this is why, and I say all of this to say that you know what's going to happen on Judgment Day, right? God is going to say to all of us, right? And I'm both so excited, mainly just to know that it's all finally over, but also terrified. God's going to go, he's not going to be wondering. He's not going to be there wondering like, oh no, where did you go? Oh no, you're not coming. You're not in heaven. Oh, shucks. He'd be like, hey, I tried everything. I gave you every point of your life. I gave you choices. I always give you a choice. Even the Bible says, resist the enemy and he shall flee. Like the enemy will try it, but just resist him and he shall flee. You know what I'm saying? And so God will say, you made your choices. You chose not to look into those things. This is why I obsessively study a lot of stuff, because I'm like, I got to know. I got to understand for myself. I haven't got time to be 20 years, 50 years. Like, listening to old people talk has taught me a lot. Because a lot of them have, like, some of them, there's some of them who really lived their life well and really learned lessons and were very proactive. And they are very happy aging, being older. They enjoy spending time with their families, doing the things that they love, and they feel like they've done what they needed to do. That's my goal. You have the other old people who are looking back and like all these lessons that they wish they had known sooner. And every time I hear an older person say, of any age that's older than me, right, say, oh, I wish I'd known sooner, I'm thinking, where do I know sooner? Because I don't want to be looking back with regrets when there's opportunities, like the Bible says in Hosea 4:6, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. It doesn't say my people perish for a lack of discipline. It doesn't say my people perish for an issue with sin or self-indulgence. It doesn't say my people perish because the devil's wreaking havoc. It doesn't say my people perish because they don't read their Bible every day. It doesn't say my people perish because they're not praying. It doesn't say my people perish because they're not fasting. It doesn't say none of that. It doesn't say my people perish because they're struggling with all these different things, their own different struggles and sins and whatnot. It says my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And isn't that ironic when we thought choosing the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was the answer? Yeah, there's the tree of life, which means you have life. But we'd rather have death and knowledge than life and wisdom. It's crazy. And that's what we do. And that's what we did. And that's why we give our power away. Like I said, no one forced Adam and Eve to do anything that they did. God didn't even say. God is just like, if you eat from that tree, you shall surely die. Do not eat from it. That's my advice. My advice is don't do it. If you eat from that tree, you shall surely die. And then in came the snake, right? And I can't get over this explanation. And shout out to the man of God who explained this to me recently. About how the enemy deceived Eve, right? Because this is what the devil does. He does it with us all. He doesn't lie. He just tells he doesn't tell a complete lie. He tells a really near truth, which is still a lie, by the way. This is why I say to you about perfection and the heaven and hell, that heaven is 100%. As soon as you move away, God is good 100%. So as soon as you move away from 100%, you're no longer good anymore. You're now mixed. And this is why I have such an issue with yin and yang, but it's a conversation for another day. So the devil says, you will not die. And guess what? He wasn't lying, but he was at the same time, because it's true that in terms of their earthly experience, they were not going to immediately die in the physical right now. But ultimately, they're going to go to death, which is the opposition of life. So they might not die now. You just started the clock. You just started the countdown. But that's the bit he doesn't tell you. He tells you the other part. So this is what I'm sure that he's saying to all these people. And he says it to people today. This is why people don't want to follow the Lord. Because they look at it like, well, I've got my life figured out. I live pretty good. I can do what I need to do. I can whatever. You go ahead with that, bud. But guess what? First of all, there's going to be another side. There's another side to all of this. Number one, right? On the other side of eternity. Number two, you never know what's coming. And that's where the Lord is important. And this is what I try to say. And I'm trying to literally bash into people's heads that you need to be aware. The Lord warns people about stuff like, by the way, this is coming. I remember like before, I wasn't as sharp in my spiritual, I don't know what you want to call it, strengths as I am now in 2019. But I remember at the end of 2019, all through 2019, I was like, something big is happening next year. Like, I just feel it. Like, I just felt so strongly. Something big is happening. God is always warning us. God had been warning me from years ago. You guys, education system, we need to be prepared. Some of you need to prepare for this situation. I'm not the only one. Some of you need to prepare for this situation, that what's going on in there. By the way, guys, I saw the dream of the waves of judgment. That was the dream that I had. It was a wave of judgment. The only wave I remember specifically seeing, because I'm not. But anyway, the wave I specifically remember seeing was like a wave, and there was a bunch of wombs with babies in them, and they were like grayed out, like they were all dead. And I knew the Lord was talking about judgment coming in terms of like abortion and whatnot. And this was before Roe versus Wade and all this, that whole situation, and before a lot of things happening now, right? So the Lord warns. I knew that the Lord was going to bring. I've been having this recurring dream. I kept having it of me, right? So I would see the whole of like, and this is happening in like multiple ways, right? I had this recurring dream, not really the last 2 years, but the years before, a couple years before, where I would be somewhere and there'd be a lot of really famous people. Like I would see a lot of the big celebrities. And I'll be in there with them, wherever this place is. So one of the times it was like in a train station. One of the times it was in some big, huge building. And there's just a lot of us and we're all rushing to get out. And every time in this dream, and this is always how I'd wake up, the second I would like run out of the building behind me would explode. Just like in the movies. And I would always like wake up immediately like that. It was intense. And now I'm starting to understand what the Lord was saying here. Like, because I'm looking at a lot of stuff happening in the entertainment industry and I'm thinking, I'm so good. I'm not nowhere near nothing I could have been near. Because even just being around or knowing people or whatever can work against you. And this is what I'm saying again, like the powers with the people, like we are the ones who make the world the way that it is. We are the ones who decide, and we are the ones who look stupid because we don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming. So while we're out here, you know, we've been living these comfortable lives. Life isn't going to be so comfortable anymore. I don't know if people don't realize that. That's the other thing. Because you gave away your freedoms to people who don't have your best interest at heart. They're now going to play whatever card suits them the best. And you're going to feel like there's nothing you can do. You can't afford to just hop on a private jet, God forbid something happens, or start buying yourself electricity generators, or building a well, or having your own farm, or doing your own things. You don't even own the land that you live on, right? Or the house that you're in. You rely on the job that you go to. You rely on these corporations to bring you in. What happens if everybody gets fired? What if they all decide they've got enough money now? And they just decide to start firing people because they can. All they have to do is tell you, oh, we can't afford to hire anybody anymore because we've got no more, blah, blah, blah. And you'll just fall for it. You'll just go with it like, you know what, I understand it's the climate, the businesses are being affected as well. Shut the hell up. They're taking advantage of the fact that things look bad to make things worse. Like in the supermarkets, I'm like, look at the prices, and I'm like, come on. But again, the powers of the people, because everybody just goes on with it, and everyone just, people complain about the price of eggs, but is anybody doing anything about it? No. So they're just going to be able to continue. And just complain. Because guess what? All of you people, every time you still pay for them anyway. You're still going to the supermarket anyway. You still go to wherever anyway, right? We talk about all these people in the entertainment industry like, oh, we're so against predators. You're still supporting Mr. Beast. You're still supporting Drake. You're still supporting, you know, all these people. Like I said, I'm shocked to the core that Mike Tyson, who apparently who's known for having issues with domestic violence, but because we like him, we're just going to let it go. Beyonce just performed at the Super Bowl. Really? Really? Or is she performing? I can't remember. I don't know if it was an old clip or a recent one. I can't be bothered. I'm thinking, really? All these things, oh, the Diddy list, whatever, but you're still slaves to these people. You're still taking the power you have to go and help them to now bring things back on you. And then when you are stuck, this is why I cannot stand us as humans. We're going to go running to the Lord. God, if you're so loving, why is there suffering in the world? It's like I said to you, I've been ringing the sound bells about the education system for years. And now everyone wants to start coming to run to me to ask for what they should do. Because they're finding themselves in situations like, oh, now you want to come running back. You took your power where you wanted to take it. Oh, you wanted to support the teachers? If you really feel that bad for the situation that we're in, why weren't you there out protesting with us? Exactly. You're busy there in the comfortability of your home, watching Netflix and paying to build Jeff Bezos's business and paying to build Mark Zuckerberg's business and buying merch from these people that don't give a single damn about you in the entertainment industry, right? And you're happy to do that. You'll happily stand in queues for hours or be up at 3 a.m. to get a Kylie Jenner lip kit. But then you want to say that you really like support the teachers and you think you're so appreciative and grateful. The ones where your actual children are. But that, oh, there's no action around that, is there? So that's what I have to say. That's what I have to say about the world and my opinion of everything. Like, the enemy has no power. The power to the people. We give our power to the enemy. The enemy loves it. He deceives us into it, right? Just like the wizard in the Wizard of Oz. You know, like I said, not in the Wizard of Oz, in Wicked. Oh my gosh, whatever, But then he actually doesn't have any power in it because he actually needs us. In fact, the simple fact of us just believing that in the first place is actually part of what gives him the power, because then we think there's power over there. So now we feel like we're being powered over. So, and you wonder why his number one op is Jesus, because Jesus is infinite power. The name of Jesus is infinite power. So, of course, he'll let you believe in everything else. Because as long as you believe in everything else, you're just as powerless as him. You just don't know it. And you're just not even prepared to even believe in the things of where power really comes from. As soon as you meet Jesus, you don't even have to understand. Because that's what would be the difference between the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of life does not require you to understand everything. The tree of knowledge of good and evil would. There's only one person who understands everything. And there's only one person who knows everything. That is the Lord himself. That is God. So I'll leave that there, you guys. Because if life is a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.